Hello, you're watching another episode of Caucasus Talks. I am Nukri Tabidze, activist from Georgia, and today we are going to be talking about Amulsar protests, and our guest is Mayranush, an independent activist from Armenia, who will tell us about it. So, hello, Mayranush. Thank you for coming to our talk today. So could you please briefly tell us how did the whole protest start and what were the reasons for it?
Yeah, so hi, and thank you for deciding to introduce the people who are not aware of this issue. It's very important for Armenia and also for neighboring countries, of course, because environmental issues don't know borders, right? And so, yeah, basically Amulsar is a mountain. You can see it here. Yeah. And it is situated in the central part of Armenia, and it plays a very crucial role actually for very important water resources of Armenia. Several rivers are going by this mountain, and one of them, Arpa River, is connected with a tunnel with the Lake Sevan, which is the biggest in Armenia and also in the whole region, actually, the biggest lake. And so this tunnel is not in use, but basically what it does, it takes the underground waters from this mountain and it takes to Sevan Lake, which if any manipulation goes wrong during any process, which in this case it is a mining project, it can ruin the whole water resources of Armenia. And also from 7 to 10 kilometers away you can find Jermuk town, which is a spa resort town, and it is very known touristic site. So from almost every house you can see actually this mountain. That's how close this mountain is to this touristic site. So basically that's where this mining company decided to initiate a gold mining project. It started in 2005. They registered first in Armenia, and then this new company who has no experience in mining whatsoever, it bought the shares of this new company registered in Armenia, and this company was based in British offshore zone. So it has no experience in mining. It tried to initiate other mining projects actually in Turkey, in Kosovo, and also in Georgia. I'm not sure if Georgian people are aware of that, but they didn't succeed for some magical reason. But they
International, right?
Yes,
name
yes.
of the company.
Yeah, Lydian International. It was the company that later on owned the 100% of the shares, the company that was initially registered in Armenia. Yeah, but it doesn't even matter because these companies, they, of course, the only aim they have is profit, and they don't care about anything. And even they didn't have any experience in mining, Armenian government, previous government, somehow gave permissions to start the project. And it accommodated a lot of laws, environmental laws back then to the project, so that the project has good base to start the project. And in the beginning they didn't have enough financing. That's why activists were not that active from 2005 till 2011. But in 2011, they already started the construction process, and that's when the activists started their campaigns and stuff. And due to activists, later on, communities that live there became more and more active in the process. And in 2018, they blocked the road that were taking to the construction site. So the mining didn't start it yet. It was just the construction. And it's been 2.5 years about that the roads taking to the mining site, the construction site, are closed and no constructions are going on there. And later on, actually, due to hard work of locals and activists, the company was on the road of bankruptcy, and recently it restructured. And now it's, if before it was under the offshore laws, now it's under Canadian laws, which changes a lot of things, which maybe we will get into more details. This is the whole thing with the Amulsar gold mining project, which didn't start yet. I mean, they didn't extract any metals yet. It was just the construction.
So this project has not started yet because the activists managed to stop it in 2018, and they have not started to extract gold or any metals there. And as I know, it became a court case at some point, right? Was it like under investigation, or like how did it stop? And why did they start to resume now? Like, so one is that you're saying that from offshore they moved to moved under Canadian law, but at the same time, do you think is the political situation that right now, when Armenia is struggling in a fight with COVID, and at the same time with the conflict, like, why do you think they started it now? If there, do you think there are reasons for it?
Yeah, so I would like also to stress out that local people have like main role in the construction stopping process. It is very important to stress out. Of course, activists were always by their side. They were trying to support locals in their aim. Yeah, and so there was this concern that this company was threatening all the time that it's going to go to international, how is it called? International arbitrary court, basically demanding so that the government, Armenian government, covers all the losses they had during this period, because they were not working. They had a lot of financial losses. They were threatening a lot. Actually, the initiative I'm part of, Armenian Environmental Front, was pretty sure that it's going to be hard for this company to do that, because actually they are they were established in offshore zones, so it makes it hard to do this kind of things. But there were a lot of threats by their side, and the Armenian government actually believed that they might be able to do that, and was trying to be cautious. And until now, actually, the Armenian government stays silent. Mm-hmm. And recently there were new waves of protests but the government doesn't say anything, doesn't comment anything, which is of course disheartening, because we've been through this process. It's been like 8 years where activists and me including, we're trying to do something about this project. And I believe that, I'm not sure how much it has to do with COVID situation. Maybe more it has to do with the whole bankruptcy process, because this company has been had plans to sell stocks. It's been like since even before 2018, when the roads were closed. So it had plans to sell, because it was not reaching the aim it had. It understood that it's not going to be able to start the mining itself. And so this process was going on all this time. They were trying to sell, they were trying to manipulate and say that, oh, we're going to start gold mining this day or another, like we're going to start tomorrow. But it was all lies, of course, manipulations. And it grew, and there was this point when they were not able to manage the bankruptcy anymore, and they just had to go to this restructurization process, which I think coincided with COVID probably. And now that there are some new investors who are interested to make investments, they are just trying to show, with this new wave of aggression towards activists and locals, that they want to start something, because if they don't, it will seem like they are not doing anything. That who's gonna buy the company, or who's gonna invest in the company if nothing is going on there, right? So my belief is that just maybe it coincided a lot, but also, of course, they used a bit the situation with COVID, because even now in Armenia, it's emergency, right? How is it called? Like when we're like basically in emergency state. Thank you. And we're basically in lockdown, and public protests were forbidden since recently. But starting from 13th, they it's okay, we can already do public protests. So it's just, I think, yeah, my opinion is it's just coincided with COVID situation. And they may be a little bit used to the situation, but in bigger picture, it was going on for a while.
So there is this argument that the mining is good for the economy, so there is this argument that mining is good for the economy, and it creates jobs, that it creates certain possibilities for the local population, as well as government gets money from it. But at the same time, it's the locals who are at the front lines of the protest. So what would you say to people who believe in that, and why do you think that this mining is not economically or environmentally profitable for Armenia?
Yeah, so of course, mining companies have a lot of myths, and they have a big PR campaigns, and they spend a lot of money on PR. And that's how they spread these myths, that it's good for this and that. I don't even want to repeat these myths, and I don't want to say it another time, so that people don't hear that and don't think that way. But basically, it's even harder to believe in this situation that it's going to do any good for Armenia, because first of all, the regions they targeted with their mining project are very intensely populated places. There are a lot of countries where mines are situated far away from inhabited places, and the situation may be different there. Here, it's a highly populated area where people live doing agriculture. So it is close to Armenia, which is very popular for its wine, and there are different economies which are doing pretty good there. And so as I mentioned, there is Jermuk town, which is spa resort town and internationally known, I would say. A lot of tourists are coming here. And so they, first of all, even if it creates some jobs, first of all, they are very temporary. Most of the jobs end when the construction process ends. And then there are a lot of employees from other countries. Actually, it's not entirely local people that are getting involved in this project. Actually, the better paid jobs are given to people from another countries, like experts who know like these mining processes. So basically, it is myth there that there are going to be a lot of job opportunities, which is not the case, especially in this time. And I have hard time to understand how. So when people say it's going to be good for country, when I say country, I understand people that live in this country. So when people, and I'm not sure if you know, but Armenia has highest cancer death rates in like the world, because there are so much mining in Armenia. And of course, you cannot prove that it's because of mining. It's just like how a lot of companies who produce cigarettes, they are gonna lie and say, how do you know that it's because of the cigarettes? Maybe it's because of your lifestyle that you got lung cancer. But like everyone knows that, no, because you were smoking, that's why you got lung cancer. And because you have so many mines, that's why your country has so many cancer cases. So and also in Armenia, people don't have health insurance. So I don't see how an agricultural region where people have already a lot of issues with different things, how it can be anyway good for the economy or the country or the people. And thankfully, local people understand that, and we've been organizing a lot of petitions and online and offline petitions, and we have proof that locals are against the project. So that proves that they understand that it's not going to be any good for their life or the country, because if it's not good for people's life, I don't imagine it being good for the country in general, right?
Yes, I think that really nicely summarizes the arguments that the usually big corporations have, that like you're gonna have better life, but their definition of better life quite often does not really involve people who are directly affected by this kind of initiatives. And in this idea of the profit and benefit, the ecological cost that people now, but also in future, have to experience themselves is very often neglected. So how do you think these protests will go on? and how can activists from other countries, but also from Armenia, support Amulsar protests, Save Amulsar protests now, or also find information?
Yeah, sure. So here you can see the website. So Armenian Environmental Front is an initiative. It's voluntarily based. We are all volunteers, but we have also a big community who is supporting us. And so there's a lot of information on our website in English. But also, of course, people who understand Armenian can also find a lot of information on Facebook. We have Facebook page, we have a YouTube channel, which is mainly in Armenian, of course, but there are some videos in English. So first, it's very important to learn about the issue, because that's what the miners relying on. They are relying on us not knowing the dangers, not knowing how it's gonna ruin the ecosystems, and the damage is gonna last for hundreds of years. And there's no amount of money you can put there to clean the polluted waters, to clean the polluted soil, to clean the polluted air. We're talking about millions and millions of dollars, which no government is gonna spend to clean, right? And we have a lot of mines which are in a disastrous condition, and nothing is being done to clean the area, which is right now polluted and destroying the whole communities in Armenia. So learning about the issue is very important. Then it's very important to share. It's gonna sound very nowadays, but like share, like, and follow and comment. So basically all the information we put out, it is very important to spread this information. And also there are a lot of so there are a lot of media that is paid by the company and spreads a lot of lies, and it's very important to know what is true and what is not true, and to comment the truth, put articles under their materials. They create video materials, and actually a lot of times activists are being targeted, and they want to put down the activists, to take away the resources, the mental, psychological, and financial resources activists have, because there are a lot of activists who are facing now courts because they were sued by the Lydian, so that it wants to put some pressure, right, on activists. So, and then also we recently started printing the logo you can see here on t-shirts, on masks actually, and going to protests, or there is this online flash mob. We are doing this and taking pictures and sharing as a symbol of the mountain, staying the mountain and not being destroyed. And this is an online campaign. Then also, if there are lawyers who would like to give some advice, maybe, I understand maybe they don't speak Armenian, or maybe they do, then they can help with all the courts that are going on. I think, I'm not sure how many courts against activists there are. I think more than 10 courts. So if there are some lawyers who would like to volunteer their time, journalists maybe, or influential people who have some platform and would like to spread the information, because nowadays the information is the key. That's why the company is putting tons of money on their PR company, and they are spreading their false information all over the place. So what we want is that our information is much more than theirs, so that it takes over their information. If there are some translators who can translate the on our site there are articles translated into English, but still there are a lot of things which our initiative and other pages which share some information, they don't have resources and time to translate. Maybe they can do that, or maybe they can, if they know, if they learn enough, and they can maybe make some videos and share. So there are a lot of ways you can help. And of course, we recently opened a new online petition on change.org. I'm not sure if it's possible to put the link somewhere, and so that people, so basically what the petition is demanding is to revoke the positive environmental impact assessment which the previous government gave and that the present government is not revoking. That's what we want, to put pressure on present government so it acts and it revokes the EIA. That's how it's called in short. So if people would like to sign that petition, and yeah, and maybe then people also, if people follow website and Facebook page, there are much more actions they can do. So it would be good to follow us everywhere.
Oh, thank you very much for such extensive explanation. I will say goodbye to you now. And our followers can see the information about the petition, as well as the links that they can follow and the websites they can visit to learn about Amulsar and maybe somehow participate in the description. This was Caucasus Talks. Thank you for watching us, and Save Amulsar.